For hole 1, I'm using Damien's shot, and his link will be in the description below. I'm using the Grizzly. You can use any Grizzly of your choosing. 1 left spin with 0.5 backspin. And what you're going to be doing is aiming your second bounce to be in line with the pin itself, so that you are just before the fringe line, still on the fairway itself, but just before the fringe line. So I'm trying to aim it to be along with the pin line there. And then I'm going to adjust my shot at a plus 15% elevation at maximum distance of my club. So again, that's plus 15% elevation at maximum distance of my club. This was the one and only time that I attempted this shot, so I'm hoping to get this dialed in for you, and I will make another video as soon as I have this dialed in. The second option is using your Goliath, and this is Fenzel's shot, and I suggest you go to Fenzel's walkthrough because he explains it very well. So basically you're going to go to the plus 4 yard mark with your Goliath before any spin. You're going to go to 2 lines over, so you're going to be on the right side of that dark line, and then you're going to be 3 squares up, so you're going to be in the corner of the dark square, and then you're going to add your spin. It's going to be about 1.5 backspin or 1.3 backspin, and depending on the wind strength, it's either going to be 1 left spin to 1.2 left spin. It just depends on the wind strength, and this hole really is going to be one of those that's going to frustrate you, and you might drop it once in a while. So again, go to Fenzel's stream. He explains it very well and what he thinks it's going to be doing for this shot. So again, this is going to be playing at 10% maximum distance of your club with the Goliath. If you have a Sniper 9 or 10, you can use a Power 4 ball. You do not need the length for the second shot. If you only have a Sniper 8, use a Berserker for this shot. If you have an Apoc 5, you're going to use max right spin with 5 top spin, and you're going to start at the plus 15 yard mark with the blue ring just into the rough, and your second bounce is going to be just on the right hand side of the rough line. So just kind of keep a note of that second bounce. You want it to be just on the right hand side of that rough line, and your blue just slightly into the rough with an Apoc 5. Again, it's going to be at the plus 15 yard mark. You're going to over adjust your shot at 0% with P3 numbers at max distance. And so again, you're going to put P3 in the app, and you're going to adjust at max distance with a 0% elevation, and then you're going to curl just outside the triangle. If you do not have a side spin 3 ball, do a tad bit more curl to account for the lack of side spin. With an Apoc 4, you are going to be adjusting at the plus 21 yard mark with a Power 4 ball. Again, this is if you have a Sniper 9 or 10. You're going to be using max right spin with 5 top spin as well, but you're going to be playing at the plus 21 yard mark. Your second bounce is going to be just to the right of the rough line, and then you're going to basically curl outside the triangle as well. If you do not have a side spin 3 ball, I suggest using a tad bit more curl than I do in this shot, just to account for the lack of side spin. So again, we are adjusting with P3 numbers in our app with a 0% elevation at max distance of our club. For the second shot, make sure you switch to a Power 4 in your app. So again, make sure you switch to the Power 4 in your app. We're going to be playing this at max distance of our club with a minus 10% elevation. Now you do need to make sure that this is well short of the hole, about 1.5 squares short of the hole, because it does come in hot. I like to aim my ball just to the right edge of the hole, and then I adjust my shot with a minus 10% elevation. I'm still trying to tweak this shot a little bit because I keep coming in to the right a little bit. So again, you're going to have to play with this shot and see what works best for you. But again, you want to leave this about 1.5 squares short of the hole because it does come in hot. For hole 3, I'm using an Apoc 4, 5, or 6. Here is the Apoc 4. You're you're going to be using 1 left spin with 4 top spin. You're basically going to be aiming to the left hand side of the end of the shadow. So just inside the shadow to the left, and then your ball guide will kick to the left when you move it up. So kind of look for that, and then basically aim down the center of the fairway. So your red ring with an Apoc 4 is going to be slightly into the rough, and then you're going to be adjusting your shot at plus 10% maximum distance of your club. So again, it's going to be played at max distance with a plus 10% over adjustment of your shot. If you go into overpower, do not use any overpower, just take a regular shot. At 342, I use 42% slider, and we do have slider numbers at the end of this video. Since I hit a great left, I'm going to add 0.1 to my shot. So here I'm using 1 right spin with 1.6 top spin. I'm going to have my yellow ring just below the rough line, and my ball guide going through the hole about a square. So a 1.6 top spin seems to be the good amount of top spin with 1 right spin. So again, you're going to be playing this at 0% elevation at the slider of your club. And if you hit a great left, you're going to add 0.1 to your shot. And if you hit a great right, you're going to minus 0.1 from your shot. So again, note how you have your drive, because that could make the difference of missing on the left side or missing on the right side. Here I'm just showing you the drive with an Apoc 5. Again, we're going to be playing this at max distance with a plus 10% elevation. 1 left spin with 4 top spin. I'm going to be setting up at the plus 8 yard mark. Even though it says plus 7, you need to start at the plus 8 yard mark, and your red ring is going to be touching the rough on the left. And here your second bounce is going to be just to the left hand side at the end of the shadow. So you're going to be just inside that shadow, red ring touching the rough, and then you're going to be at the plus 8 yard mark. 1 left spin, 4 top spin, and you're going to play at max distance with a plus 10% over adjustment. Hole 4 is going to be dialed in. This really isn't a good shot here. What I have figured out from watching other streamers is that we're actually going to be starting with the blue ring next to the bunker instead of the white ring. So if you haven't played yet, try the blue ring next to the bunker instead of the white, and you're going to be playing this shot at 1-to-1 plus 0.1. So you can use any ball of your choosing, but again, you're going to play this at 1 win per ring plus 0.1 of your adjustment. So if this is 3.8 wind, I would be playing this at 3.9 rings. And you're probably going to do about 0.2 top spin, no left or right spin, and then have your ball guide basically going to the hole. So again, try that shot. I'm going to be trying it tomorrow, and I will make another video once we get this shot dialed in. But as of now, we have not dialed in this shot. For hole 5, I will show you the Apoc 4 shot after this, but with an Apoc 5 or 6, you do not have to push up any rings whatsoever. You're going to be doing max right spin with 3.5 top spin. Your yellow ring is going to be basically in the middle there, with your red ring basically hugging the crest of that, basically hugging the curve there. You're going to over adjust your shot with a plus 10% elevation at maximum distance of your club, and then you're going to be using curl to where the left hand side of your ball is touching the inside of your ring. Try not to overpower it because it could be hurtful to you. So again, with an Apoc 5 and 6, you do not have to push up any rings. Adjust your shot at max distance with a plus 10% over adjustment, max right spin, and 3.5 top spin. For the second shot, we are using a plus 10% elevation at the slider of your club, and we do have yardages and slider numbers for you at the end of this video. Make sure that you use 1 backspin with no matter what thorn you have. you're going to be using 1 backspin. So here I do have a ball guide, and I'm just aiming my ball guide at the hole, and then I'm going to adjust my shot at the slider percent plus 10% elevation. For the Apoc 4 shot, you're going to be doing max right spin, and I did 4 top spin here, but you only have to do 3.5 top spin as well. But if you want to be on the safe side, do 4 top spin, max right spin. Then you're going to push up about 2 rings to make sure that you're in the spot that you need to be, where you're inside that little curvature of the mound there, where your red ring is just hugging the curvature. And then you're going to adjust your shot with a plus 10% elevation at maximum distance. Turn around to face the pin, and then you're going to pull or push up basically 2 rings. So with an Apoc 4, you're going to be pushing up about 2 rings. By pushing up the 2 rings, you do not have to use overpower. And again, the left side of your ball is going to be touching the inside of the ring. For hole 6, you can use an Apoc 4, 5, or 6, any driver if you're choosing really. You're going to do max left spin with 1.5 top spin. You're basically going to just have your ball guide going over the sand there with your yellow ring near the rough, or basically the red ring halfway into the rough. You're going to over adjust your shot with a plus 10% over adjustment, and then you're going to do about a half a ball of curl to the left, and then try to hit perfect and try not to overpower this shot. For the second shot, it either plays at 0% or plus 5%. I have tried it at plus 5% and I have missed it. Here I tried it at 0%. It came in super hot, but it ended up making it. So I'm not exactly totally sure what the elevation is going to be, but I'm going to stick with 0% and see if I can dial it in. You do want to leave this well short of the hole because it does come in hot. So I would say a good 2 squares short of the hole, so that it slows down. But again, I adjusted this shot at max distance with a 0% elevation. For hole 7, I'm opting to use the rock because it gives me better accuracy. I'm going to be doing max right spin with 3 top spin, and my second bounce basically is going to be in the first shadow, just inside basically in the first shadow. So with a rock 8, I'm going to be at the plus 1 yard mark, and with a rock 9, I'm going to be at the 0 yard mark or just below. But just note that second bounce, it's going to be basically just on the first shadow, just inside the first shadow. And then you're going to adjust your shot with a plus 10% over adjustment at maximum distance with your rock. Again, your curl is going to be the left side of the ball touching the inside of the ring. At 312, we know Fens will hit this at 40% slider, so I played this at 40% slider with a plus 5% elevation, max right spin with 0.9 top spin, and my ball guide going through the hole. So again, you're going to be playing this at the slider percent of your club with a plus 5% elevation, max right spin with 0.9 top spin, and your ball guide going through the hole. At the end of this video, we do have slider and yardage numbers. For hole 8, I have seen other streamers hit this shot. This is Fenzel's shot, and I just have not hit it yet because my grid lines are getting in the way, so I'm going to have to use my take shot button. So here we're doing 3 top spin with 0.5 right spin, and this spin might change depending on where you're at. So you want to start around the 4-yard mark with your sniper 10, not the 5 and not the 3. You want to start at the 4-yard mark, and then your ball guide going just to the hole and just to the right edge of the hole, and then you're going to over adjust your shot with a plus 10% adjustment at maximum distance with P1 in your app, which turns out to be 1-to-1 plus 0.3. So if your wind was 5 miles an hour, your adjustment would be 5.3. So again, you're going to be using P1 numbers in your app with a plus 10% elevation at maximum distance of your club. 3 top spin, 0.5 right spin, which it could change, and then your ball guide going to the hole and just to the right edge of the hole. For hole 9, you're going to be using a Thor 5, 6, or 7. It depends on what you would like to use. Here we're doing 2 left spin with 5 top spin. So no matter what Thor you have, you're going to be using 2 left spin with 5 top spin. You're basically going to be aiming just inside that shadow. Blue ring is just going to be slightly into the rough, but that might change depending on the Thor that you are using. But I'm using the shadow as my mark. I'm just going to be aiming just to the inside of that shadow. And then you're going to have to push your rings, and you're going to be adjusting at 10% maximum distance of your club. So again, it's going to be 5 top spin with 2 left spin. For the second shot, we are using, we want to lay back a little bit because we are using our yardage markers as a reference. So I would suggest doing 3 right spin with 1 top spin first, and then finding the funnel to the hole, and you want to aim just below the hole with our shot. And you can't really use rings as a reference, which I was trying to do here. You're just going to have to use your spin actually. So you're going to do 3 right spin with 1 top spin, and then you have your ball guide aiming just below the hole. Now what we are using is we're going to be doing minus 15% elevation at max distance of our club, but depending at where you are in your yardage markers depends on what power ball you're going to use in your app. If you're at the 0-yard mark, you're going to be using the power 0 in your app. If you are between 1 and 4-yard mark, you're going to be using power 1 in your app. If you are between 5 and 8-yard mark, you're going to be using power 2 in your app. And if you are above 8 in your yard marker, you're going to be using power 3 in your yard mark. So again, more to come on this hole as we dial it in. Once I get it dialed in and some shots taken, I will do an updated video on this shot. And remember guys, hit perfect, good luck, and happy golfing.